Hello everybody, so today on Game Hacker we will be going over the Flappy Bird version 2.0 that I've been working on for the past week and a half. So inspiration for this project came from a project that I worked on about 2 years ago, actually coincidentally around the same time the video would have been posted in the summer, Flappy Bird Recreation, which was a 2D imitation of the classic Flappy Bird game using assets created by my sister. Now that the project is 2 years old and I have learned a lot since then, I decided to come back and see what I could do to make it better. Some of the notable improvements include the overhaul of how many systems were handled, such as how the storing of the player's scoring was handled. There are also many minor tweaks to the actual gameplay, like how gravity was handled and movement and all that. Make it more in line with the actual game, make it feel better, and overall game balance. So the challenge level was brought down because the previous version tended to be on the more challenging side of the game. Notable additions include a actual menu, so an actual title screen, as well as settings, animations, and sounds. So, for instance here, there are sounds, there are settings, and these buttons down here will mute only for down here, or only for this main screen. We have an FPS counter, and we also have the high score displayed here. So, you can see here, you could space to start. Game starts immediately. Escape to pause. I'm going to cut off the music because it's going to drive me insane while I'm trying to narrate this. So as you can see here, ignoring my FPS because I am running this at an insane speed, we now have the actual background moves now, so the game overall looks much better. It feels better to play as well. The actual colliders on all of these now fit better. So the collider used to be just a giant box that sat around the player. It was just a giant square. And same for all the colliders here. For all the pipes, air quotes pipes, these are just towers. They were effectively just big squares, which made them a lot less intuitive in terms of how you actually got around them. So now it's a bit better. It's actually closer to what you see on screen than what the previous version had to offer. Obviously, you could tell I've added a little bit more integrity to the background, so the background actually moves and isn't just a static skybox like it was. Originally, the background that you see here was planned to have been used, but we never got around to it. Also, I've removed the background behind the actual character image, which is the snitch from Harry Potter for those interested, as well as the towers. These are the towers the students sit in for their Quidditch matches. As you can tell, I'm not actually I haven't played this game in a ridiculous amount of time, so my overall skill might not be that great. Some of the most notable things actually that I noticed when I went back is that originally the scoring system was not based on your triggering. So there are like invisible triggers between every single tower pair that causes your score to go up. On the original, as I had not yet truly grasped how to use the functions for this and all the technicalities behind it, I struggled to get them to work. So instead, what I did there was I used a timer and timed the distance between these to get the scoreboard. In this version, now that I'm using actual triggers, this allows me to do stuff like make the distance between the tower spawns random. So if you'll notice, between some of these tower spawns, the distance between them will change. It won't be that much of a distance, as I wanted to keep the game both challenging, but also not too challenging to make them too close, not too boring. Hey, there's like a crazy amounts of distance between towers. That gets boring really quickly. A lot of the other core elements of the game still remain the same. The towers can shift their vertical position up or down, so there's that to look into. You can still pause while playing the game, or now you can pause while playing the game and change settings. So for instance here, I can just pause here and we could blow our ears out with insanely loud noises coming from the effects sliders. For those of you who are going to be interested, the download for this build of the game will be found on my Game Hacker website from my most recent JavaScript video. And also, it will be downloadable, or you can reach it from my LinkedIn page from my personal portfolio website, which was not announced for this channel for that reason. Cool thing to note actually though for this, the background here is static. The actual flooring here never moves. You think you're moving, but actually, realistically, in actual game space, the character that you're looking at stays in this one spot. All it does is jump up and down. Everything else that you see is just a bunch of items moving to the left. These are all still images just moving left. There's no animation, it's just sliding their positioning left. And so it actually gives the illusion that you're moving forward, and it also kind of, like, if you're not looking right at the ground, you'll think that you're moving forward on the ground as well, when in reality the ground is actually not moving at all. I'll finish this match off to see how far I can get. I will be clearing the score afterwards so that you guys can have a fresh score to look into and play with when you do inevitably download this. The download for the original will still be in place on the website, but I do highly recommend that you can download this one, and you can also compare them if you wish. Some of the interesting features from the previous one is that if you went into the build folder itself, you could actually change your high score and cheat the system into thinking you got 10 million score or whatever. On this one, it's a lot harder to do that. You basically have to have coder tools to do so, as it requires you to be able to go into your personal folders that are hidden from you normally as an administrator and change the JSON file. And while changing the JSON is the easiest part, the JSON folder is set to be read-only, so you can't actually alter it under normal circumstances, so to speak. There were ideas to add more things to this, like maybe altering the background or changing the day cycle. I ended up deciding not to go with that, as there are other projects that I wanted to start working on, and so we ended up with this sort of setup. So I'm gonna leave you guys on that one. I hope you guys enjoyed the shorter video, because my last couple videos have been on the longer side. I will see you guys later. Peace.